Bill O'Reilly has come on our radar because, well, for a couple of reasons. Sometimes these people just say something that is so overwhelmingly stupid and problematic and wrong that you just can't ignore it. And I also think it's important to track Bill because, honestly, Bill O'Reilly, where Fox News is and where this whole ecosystem is right now, he is the moderate voice compared to Sean Hannity, Rush Limbaugh, the Tea Party, all of these new people in that ecosystem that I can't even keep track of. So,
and that is sort of scary.
Stunning.
Yes,
it's stunning, and it's true. So Valerie Jarrett, who of course is a senior, I don't know what her official title is now at the White House, but she's a very, very close advisor to President Obama. She is, she's not only a senior advisor and official at the White House. She's a close Obama family friend. So she's on Bill O'Reilly's show, and they're talking about the president's Brothers Keepers initiative. There's some stories coming out now basically about what President Obama's projects are going to be in his post-presidency. And at least the stories so far indicate that there's going to be some type of return to some type of working around issues that he did in the beginning of his career in Chicago in terms of community organizing, working on issues that affect young men of color, those types of things. And, of course, when you're talking about young men of color and people of lower incomes, there is no one better to listen to than Bill O'Reilly. So Valerie Jarrett was on the O'Reilly Factor, and Bill just had a lot to say about poverty, sex, black people, and something he calls gangsta rap. Let's take a listen.
And I was pleased you invited me to this. You shocked a lot of people. People were fainting when I walked into that.
We were delighted to have you.
Pause that. I think that was an event kind of talking about these initiatives that O'Reilly was invited to. Sorry, go ahead.
The president mentioned in his remarks a culture of cynicism on the streets. And it's not just blacks, but it's the poor and the hardcore, what they call gangstas. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Pause it.
There's a culture.
Right there, she should say, no, motherfucker, I don't know what you're talking about. Gangstas? I'm done with this interview. But she didn't, so we can proceed.
Of cynicism, like, we can't make it, we're not going to be a part of this, we're going to sell drugs, we're going to do what we want. You got to get in there. And I don't know if you guys see the urgency of that.
Well, of course the president does. And he said this afternoon, look, we all have a role that we can play here. This is not a big government program. In fact, the government's role is rather minor. And it requires accountability. It requires people to step up to the plate and work hard and stay in school and excel and dream, but it also requires a community around them to provide a safety net. The president talks about his own childhood, where there were times when he wasn't studying hard in school. And when
he was very candid with these kids.
Extremely candid, but he had a mother who believed in education, and he had grandparents and teachers.
He had some guidance.
He had a lot of guidance,
right.
And what he said is that what he wants for all of our children is to have that safety net.
Look.
But he also told them, look, boys, you're going to have to work hard, and you're going to have to act responsibly.
And that message has to get across. But you have to attack the fundamental disease if you want to cure it. Now, I submit to you that you're going to have to get people like Jay-Z, Kanye West, all of these gangster rappers.
Listen to how he's saying their names.
That's number one.
What I think these
they're
boys, what these boys need is they need positive role models, as you said.
Listen to me. Listen to me. You got to get where they live, all right? They had idolized these guys with the hats on backwards and the terrible rap lyrics and a drug and all of that. You got to get these guys, and I think President Obama can do it. And you got to put them on TV and the net, and they got to say, knock it off. This is wrong. You've got to get them all. And then you got to get the president and the first lady and every other profile. You had Magic Johnson there today. He's a good guy. And you got to.
Yeah, Magic Johnson is profoundly currently relevant to the youth of America.
I'm Bill O'Reilly, and what you got to do is just grab all the black people who've ever been in pop culture, TV, entertainment, anything, and just put them all on TV and tell the black youth to stop it.
That's it.
Just stop it.
That's a strategy. Stop it.
Why can't you just all disappear? Just stop it.
Just stop it. All right, keep playing the sound.
A bunch of these guys. And you got to barrage, and make it uncomfortable to have a baby out of wedlock. Make it uncomfortable to sell drugs. You got to reverse the peer pressure.
All right. Pause it.
These are only black issues, by the way. No young white teens have babies out of wedlock, do and sell drugs. None of them are involved in any sort of violent activities.
He tried to cover himself by saying poor people generally in the beginning of the segment, but now it's really the black people. And I'm going to respond in a couple.
Why not name any of the white entertainers on TV or in pop culture who we could also? Why isn't Macklemore going on?
Because
TV?
it's really about black people.
Yes.
So let me first, before I'm going to respond to a couple of points to this, because I find this whole conversation so enraging. But before I do that, I would just like us all to remember a moment from Bill O'Reilly's past and his contribution to overcoming the problems of drug use and teenage sex.
Say, baby, put down that pipe and get my pipe up.
That was a great depiction of black youth culture in... sorry, folks. Actually, someone just literally walked into the studio trying to talk to us. But anyways, that was Bill O'Reilly and his contribution to elevating discourse. Now... everything is on display here about what's wrong. First, it's this right-wing garbage that, look, some version of this stuff, some version, not the O'Reilly version, not all the racial stuff and not everything that's layered into it, works in a self-help book or something, okay? Look, people do have some power and agency in their lives, and of course it matters the decisions they make. That's great. Wonderful. Go be a therapist, be an educator. You're talking about public policy. Public policy are decisions that create context and institutions that drive the real issues. Now, the real issues are not, it's just, poor people are just so cynical. Black people are just so cynical. No, the issues are structural poverty. We know from research in the journal Science that the burden of poverty alone can lower IQ points by 13 points. Okay? Now, maybe IQ is a questionable metric. There's all sorts of problems in that. But we know literally poverty is a cognitive barrier. The stress of not knowing where your next meal is coming from, not knowing where you're going to live, the daily grinding pressure of unsafe streets, collapsing schools, bad relationships with police. And this notion that some guy can helicopter in, some blow-dried television airhead who has no idea what he's talking about, to just say, well, if Lil Wayne and Magic Johnson sat down with Barack Obama and they said, hey, black people, pull up your pants, that would solve all of our problems. Now, we all know that's stupid. But listen to how Valerie Jarrett's engaging with that. She's affirming government plays a very small role in this. Actually, it doesn't. Government has played a very significant role in generating the types of infrastructure and opportunities we're talking about, including things like Pell Grants and other public subsidies, which allow people to go to college and leave these circumstances, even if they're doing all the right things. If you got rid of those things, it doesn't matter. You're still not going to be able to afford college. So that's number one. So why on earth does Valerie Jarrett have to affirm any part of this ludicrous framing? And the third point is, yes, Barack Obama actually had a very unique and distinct and very difficult upbringing. Okay, he didn't know his father. He was moving in between different points in the world. He lived with his grandparents. He lived with his mother. A lot of confusion, a lot of difficulty. And there was low money at some points. But his mother was a highly educated person. His father, who even he didn't have a relationship, was an academic who, before having his own personal troubles, worked in government and economics in Kenya, okay, and studied at Harvard and the University of Hawaii. His grandmother worked at a bank. They owned a home. You're already talking, even within that context, and he did face a lot of difficulties, about huge structural advantages that allowed him to have the books he needed, that allowed him to know to get into Panaru, which is the elite prep school in Hawaii. You're already talking, even in his case, and this is a person who's faced way more difficult challenges in his life than Bill O'Reilly. You're already talking about a completely different thing than the stuff that's faced by the children that Bill O'Reilly presumes to lecture. And the idea that Barack Obama, as the president of the United States, that his prime job is not to create a jobs program, not to invest, not to overcome these structural barriers, but to lecture these people, to lecture youth, to lecture the poor, is delusional, offensive, and we're never going to get where we need to go. And it's also disrespectful to the office. And I'll just say in conclusion,
Say, baby, put down that pipe and get my pipe up.
thank you, Bill O'Reilly. I think everybody else can take it from here.
Do you want to play a little bit more of this?
All right. Sure. You know, I don't even know how much more I can take of this, but sure, keep going a little bit more.
Because he's not done.
He's not done. He's not done. Keep going.
You see where I'm coming from here?
I see exactly what you're coming from, and what
That's
we
what I'm
showed
saying.
today is that there is evidence that there are wonderful programs out there that can inspire these young people. The president is a terrific role model. The room today was full of role models that these young boys can look up to, and what we have to do is take what's working and take it to scale.
All right, are
and
you
the
just blowing off my idea here?
No, I'm
or
just,
I-
I'm just telling
Hopefully.
you that I think that there's a lot of ways of
You had
approaching
Colin
this.
Powell in there. You had
Terrific
a lot of
role model.
right. But they don't even know who he is. All
Well,
right.
actually, I think they do.
On the south side of Chicago.
Oh, of course they know.
may, but he's
Of
over
course
here.
they know who Colin Powell is. Of
Look,
course
no,
they know
but
who he is.
It's these gangster rappers, it's the athletes, it's the tattoo guys. You got to get them in there to tell these
Tattoo
kids
shop owners,
that you
yes.
got to stop the destructive behavior. You're going to wind up in a morgue or in prison.
I think don't underestimate those children. That's what I would
don't
say to you.
underestimate anybody.
I think when the President of the United States looks at you and he says, I believe in you and that I was just like you and you can be just like me, that's the perfect role model. That's the person
Michelle
they
Obama.
should have.
You
The
know her
First
ve-
Lady,
you
an
know her very well,
outstanding
right?
role model for the
Okay.
young people.
I want you to tell her something from me tonight.
What's
Okay. I like the nutrition thing. I like the garden. I think that's all good.
Healthy eating, let's
I want
move,
Michelle Obama
exercise.
to come on this program, right here. And I want Michelle Obama to look into that camera and say, you teenage girls, you stop having sex.
Pause it.
You stop getting pregnant.
Because black teenage girls, according to Bill O'Reilly,
Yeah, they're
in
going to be
between-
watching. Yeah, you got to go right to them and connect right to them. So, what do teenage girls watch? The O'Reilly Show, of course.
Right, when they're not
Invite
having
Michelle Obama on here.
when they're not having unprotected sex and listening to Jay-Z, they're watching the O'Reilly
Yeah,
Factor.
you gotta have Michelle Obama come on here so we can connect right to the children.
Absolutely. What else would they be watching?
Wrong. I want her to do that right here. Do you think she would?
Well, I think what's more important than Michelle Obama coming on Fox
wouldn't
News
that
is
be
for her
amazing?
to spend time with young girls, which she does. She's had a mentorship program for young girls since she first took office. Both the President and the First Lady talk about the importance of marriage, the importance of responsibility, and she does.
I can't really take any more of this, but I think that like I love that Valerie Jarrett finally is like, yeah, there's actually probably marginally more important things than Michelle Obama going on Fox News, but it's just, and you got, and this is the reasonable guy on Fox. The rest of the people on Fox are like, of course George Zimmerman murdered a black kid. Black kids are terrifying. It's just unbelievable.